2 blocks away. And the gunfire, the screams, the struggle of the diner. It gets lost within the chaos of Raccoon City. Now when Mckayla hears machine guns going off, rifles, shotguns, she can't tell the direction. They pop across the sky, echoing from every distance, from every angle. And the shrieks, the cries, they flow out of every broken window, through all open doors, trickle out of every alley that she passes. She has to strain to hear them over the sound of her heart, or her feet thumping on the pavement. She runs. And as others run, with her, against her, away from her, they run without direction, without reason. And Mckayla realizes that she's doing the same. A quick glance around. There are no members of the mob. No direct violence, no threat in her area. She slows to a halt, chest still pumping as she doubles over, both hands on her knees as she gasps. That was the longest and hardest she's run in a long time. And for a brief second, she compares running away from Sophia towards running to her. And that thought is broken when a car, because she stopped in the middle of the road, when a car passes to her right, its headlights catch her shadow and throw it just along another abandoned vehicle up ahead. We'll say it's a pickup truck, the door hanging open, the glass shattered. And she sees the vehicle speed ahead, swerve around a corner. She stops and glances back. Nothing. Ahead. Nothing. No members of the mob. No immediate threat. And Mckayla has no idea where she's going to go. Still struggling to breathe. She glances over to her right. For this, we are going to go to the book, 100 Urban Places of Business. That's essentially a book with 100 urban places of business. No names, just short descriptions on what kind of establishment she can find. And we're going to roll that D100 in just a second. Let's see where she goes. 38. An electronic repair shop. Seeing as I occasionally pass an abundance of computer repair shops, we're going to go ahead and say that it's one of those. Every time I pass one, they seem to be these small little buildings, kind of like in the nooks of shopping centers. So we're going to go with something like that, just off the side of the road. Neon lights burn blue, with one red letter in the center as they flash, and it says open. Unnecessary hours beneath it, but they're closed on Sundays. We need to be aware of that in case you need your computer repaired. And the first question we want to ask is, does Mckayla see anybody inside there? I'm figuring it's a glass front building, so if someone's there, she can see through. So we're going to roll, is somebody in there? And then we're going to roll, does she see somebody? The see somebody will be a character test. And then this, the D6, will be if somebody's actually in there. So, is somebody in the shop? No one is in the shop, and the lights are off. It's dark. It's pitch black in there. But it still says open. Mckayla needs a moment to regain herself, and she feels like she needs to be off of the street. So, picking herself up, Standing upright as best as she can, she walks with her lungs burning until she crosses off the road onto the sidewalk, walks up the little driveway past a shrub to her left that's not very well maintained. She gets to the store, grabs a hold of the front door. Now the lights do say open, the neon lights, the sign says open, but since the lights are off, we're gonna roll and see, does this door open up? Is the door unlocked? Wrong dice. No, the door does not open, and on closer inspection, there are metallic shutters keeping her from getting in. She shakes the door. Damn it! And she looks at the building to her left. What kind of building is this one? We're going to go ahead and do another D100 on that book. 34. It's a dive bar. To the left, it's just a sign, a bar that says Amy's. And she walks over to the door. Is this one unlocked? 2. No. She grabs it, it doesn't open. She hits on it. God damn it, someone open! Does somebody open? With it locked, I'm going to go ahead and have 2d6s out there, because if the door is locked, chances are they don't want to let anyone in. So we're going to roll these 2d6s on the oracle and take the smaller number, because it's more likely that they're not going to let her in. Rolling now. It's a 3. No one opens the door, but they say, "It's locked, go around back." Around back, somebody answers, she thinks, and her hand's still on the doorknob. She glances back towards the street. No danger yet. Another cackle of gunfire in the distance. She knows what that means. And she rushes to the right. She moves across the computer repair shop, her reflection in the mirror catching portions of her run, mimicking her. She rounds the corner of the brick building, makes it to the back end. Trash can in front of her. And there's a door to her left. She figures it's for the computer shop as she gets to the second one. Is somebody waiting for her? No, they're not waiting for her. And when she gets there, the door is still locked. She runs over, grabs the door, and tries to open it. Damn it, let me in! Who the hell are you? Are you bitten? Well, does he know about the bites yet? Does this person know about being bitten in zombies? Yes, so he would say, "The hell are you? Are you bitten? Bitten? No one's bitten me! Open the fucking door!" Does he open it? I feel like this is probably a more likely thing, but I don't want to make it too easy, just because if she's not bitten, maybe he's more willing to let her in, but maybe somebody lied about it beforehand. Let's ask that before we say, does he open the door? Has anybody lied about not being bitten? No. Does he open the door? No, he doesn't open the door. And just keep fucking moving. Why did you tell me to come to the back then? Open it, damn it! Not opening this door. You don't know what's out there. So at this point, we're going to look to characters, I almost said characters Mckayla's sheet. Mckayla's character sheet. So I'm going to throw it up on screen for coercion, essentially for Mckayla to try to talk her way in. As you can see right now, coercion is 2 greens. Apparently she's not very persuasive. She could try charm, but I don't think she's thinking about that right now. She's probably more scared than to try to flirt her way in. But let's take a look at this. This guy knows that she's not infected, or at least he thinks that, and since nobody's lied to him yet, I'm going to say that he's more willing to believe it. So we're going to give him 1 purple. 1 just to signify the fact that he has the doors locked, and the second to signify that distrust enough for him to ask. And the fact that he knows that people are infected, can get infected, we'll throw that black up there just for that. We're going to give Mckayla a blue because she's going to argue that she does know what's out there. She's seen it firsthand. And we're going to roll that. Advantage of 3, but a failure. So it's a failure with a decent chance of, not success, but a decent outcome. So he says, "You don't know what's out there." "Yes, I do. That's why you need to let me in. They're coming. They're down their street. They're down the street." "Oh, if they're coming, you need to move along now. Ain't no safety in here for you. She thinks for a second. And she grabs the door and she tries to push her way in. But it doesn't open. It yanks and she pulls and she can feel someone holding it back. And eventually she just kicks the door and growls in frustration. She runs. She's gonna try one more before she goes on. Would she? Let's go ahead and have her try one more before she moves on. And she runs to the building next to it. Does it open? Yes, it opens. And the lights are on when she gets in. And she grabs the door and she whips it open, jumps inside and closes it. We're gonna start keeping track of what M.U.N.E calls wilds. I explained that in the M.U.N.E video, which I can link below if you haven't seen, where I basically explain the oracle and how it functions. Every 3 times you roll a d6 and receive a 6 when asking a question, a wild happens, and essentially it just changes the scene based on words. For the sake of this game, anytime a wild would happen, we are going to refer to a list that I've created, a series of tables to introduce an actual Resident Evil element, whether that's a monster, a named character, or some sort of unnamed NPC in the city, such as like SWAT officers, police officers from the Resident Evil book. So, we're going to start keeping track of that now. That is our first one. On 2 more 6s, we introduce something related. However, let me state now that not everything is going to flow within Resident Evil canon. This is essentially the first main day of the major outbreak, and for all we know, Leon could walk up just immediately, or a hunter can just show up in the middle of the street. So we're not following complete details here, of course. Where would the fun be in that? However, she enters this building and the lights are on. We need to find out what kind of building it is. So looking back to that same list, the same table from earlier, the 100 urban places of business, we're going to roll that D100, and it's a 73. She finds herself in a pediatrics office. I cannot talk today, dude. Pediatrics office, probably. Yes. And she looks ahead. Bland, white tiles in front of her. Perhaps a poster to the left about ears, nose, and throat, but it's in the shape of a child with funny little words and diagrams. It's quiet here. In fact, the struggles and the violence outside have seemingly vanished completely. Hello? Mckayla calls out. Does somebody answer? No one answers. And they're gonna avoid her. I guess I just established that people are actually in here then. Mckayla takes a few steps forward. There's a door to her right. 3 red pegs above it. Not red, but 3 different colored pegs. Red, yellow, green. Chart hanging in the door. She doesn't bother with it. Is anyone here? She asks. But with that one, they're going to avoid her. What I want to ask, what she doesn't know, are the people in this building, or person, are they a threat to her? Yes. Real quick, I want to know how many people are in here. Mckayla's obviously not going to know that. 1. There was only 1 person in here. She moves in here, in through this hallway. Rectangular lights above her. They fitted into the ceiling. She finds an open door. She glances inside. There's a table with a paper sheet over it. She moves further ahead. And there's a telephone, right? Receptionist desk. And she walks over to it. And she picks up the phone. But it's giving a busy tone. Everyone and their mother trying to call someone. And she slams it down. Does this person try to escape out the back door while she's distracted? No, they don't. Do they confront her now that they have the drop on her? No, they're just staying quiet and staying hidden. And she sets the phone down. She turns around. No one. Always empty. But this is a doctor's office for children. She can tell by this little toy in front of her. It's a small table with all these fun little loops and lines and pegs that follow them along. She looks to a closet that says supplies. Is it open? 2d6 because that's unlikely. 3. No, it's not open. But when she glances behind her, there's a key rack. Actually, I want to know, is the key even on that key rack? Yes, okay. So she crosses and grabs the ring, the key ring, and walks over to the supply cabinet. At this point, she's in survival mode. She doesn't know what's going to happen out there. She doesn't know where she's going, but she needs to be prepared. And as she unlocks the door, she curses herself. Why the fuck did I lose that knife? How the fuck did I lose that knife? She pulls the door open. It's dark. She reaches in, finds a light switch, and flicks it. And she glances about. Give me a second, because I might have a book specifically for medical supplies. Let me take a look. And I do. It is the Book of Random Tables Modern. I'm going to be looking at page 16, which is essentially items in a hospital room. Of course, things will be dialed down to essentially match a child's size. So we're going to roll. It's a D100 table. I'm not going to put the entire thing on the screen, but we're going to... I'll put what I find, obviously. First, I want to see how many useful items are going to be in here. In fact, we're going to go back to earlier, to that roll where I rolled a positive despite it being a negative and that gentleman didn't open the door. There were 3, right? That's the 3-6 advantage if I remember correctly. Again, my memory, goldfish. We're going to roll and there are the 3 items, 3 D100s. That's what we find. So here's the first one. 91. Infant diapers. Not useful to her. 12. An alarm clock. Just getting everything we need today, right? And 2. Gowns. Child-sized gowns. Nothing of use, she thinks. And she closes the door. And she slams on it, hitting it with her fist. The sound briefly echoes throughout the hallway. Does the person hiding react to this? No. And they have no intention of reacting. And there's jack shit in here. Discarding the key because it's of no use anymore. Thankfully, the game tells you when you don't need them. She turns back towards the front hall, passes the receptionist's desk, stands by the front windows, moves the blinds aside, and peeks out. Is there an immediate threat outside? Or, yes, but it doesn't see her. What is this threat? Is this threat a human, a living person? Yes. And they're in the middle of attacking someone else. I believe that's our second 6. So, they see this person outside. Perhaps it's 2 guys robbing someone. And Mckayla lets the blinds fall back into place, and she hears a gunshot. Yeah! Surprised, shouting, happiness, joy. She turns back and she realizes the front door's a no-go. She walks back past the counter, back door, and she stops with her hand on it. She still doesn't know where she's going. Where could she go? Home? There's safety up above. But she doesn't have food, supplies, weapons. Would anybody even come for her? How long until the city falls back under control? They're trying. They're trying. Mckayla stops and thinks. It didn't make sense beforehand, but she wasn't thinking about it. Police officers, SWAT officers, while they were trying to contain this riot, they unprompted opened fire on that crowd in front of Sophia's diner. And the thought is immediately derailed. And she thinks of Sophia. And Mckayla rests her head against the door. How could she be such a fucking coward? How could she be so afraid? She thinks about going back. But so much had happened over there. Police officers. Mobs. If the mob won, Sophia was done for. If police won, Sophia would be safe. She should at least check, right? Looking to Mckayla's sheet. I think discipline is probably the best thing to go off of here. 2 green. 1 blue to represent the inner guilt telling her that she has to go back. Shoulder is like so uncomfortable right now, I don't know why. 1 red to represent her inner fear that it may be too late. Purple to represent the danger that she just saw outside and the fear that's ringing through her. 1 black because she's unarmed. And the second black is just her lack of confidence. It's the voice inside telling her that she can't do what needs to be done, that she's not strong enough, that she was never strong enough. Does she listen? Fails by 3, with an advantage of 2. There's no use in going back. Whatever happened there has happened. How could she ever face Sophia after running? The only place to go is home. She grabs a hold of the door, finally finding the knob, her head still resting on it. We're gonna ask, does anybody come in through the front door of this office? No. But she can hear voices right outside of it. Someone out there. Yoo-hoo, anybody home? And she grabs the door, and she pulls it open and steps outside. Is there anybody in the back? No, and it's completely clear. Mckayla takes a few steps. She lives in the city. She's not going to get lost even if she ran just wildly. So perhaps she knows that jumping over this wall in front of her will lead her to a safer location away from these people. So she quickly jogs over, grabs the top, and pulls herself up, and she sits on the wall itself. Is there anything on the other side we should be concerned about? No. It's quiet. It's safe. Perhaps the street light above throws down that same boring yellows. And she jumps down and lands. She picks herself up. Now intent on heading home, she follows this alleyway to the right, moving past another trash can, a large garbage can, past fire escapes. And she comes to the edge of the road. Not one that she previously passed, that would be a little further down east. She comes to the edge, places her back up against the wall. She's seen this in movies where you stand aside and then you turn your head and peek. Is it dangerous? Yes, it's dangerous. And that is our third wild. We are going to refer to the charts that I made. To break it down, Genesys has 3 types of NPCs. Well, at least 3 that we need to pay attention to. Minion, Rival, and Nemesis. Think of Minion as your generic soldier, your cop, your zombie, just people that are going to be there. Rivals are going to be your stronger NPC, though they don't have to be named. This is something like your, a Liquor, a Crimson Head, that would fall under Rival. If we're looking for human, that would be the actual soldier, or maybe an Umbrella Secret Service member, a UBCS, something along that nature. Nemesis would be your named NPC, right? So that would be something like Leon, Claire, Jill, or Albert Wesker for some reason. Nemesis, Mr. X. Yes, Nemesis is a nemesis. Funny how that works out. So what we're going to do, right? We're going to roll a d6, another one. This d6 is even will be a monster NPC, and odd will be a human NPC. So let's roll this d6 and see what shows up. It is a monster. No, odd is human. Odd is human. Probably. If not, I'm about to look like I can't remember shit. And I can't. So let's go ahead and roll that now. So what comes next? Delete. What comes next is a D100. I'm going to roll that in a second, and it essentially picks whether this is going to be a minion, a rival, or a nemesis. Just to give you a brief idea, anything between 0 and 67 is a minion, 68 and 88 is a rival, and 89 to 99 is the nemesis. A nemesis, not the nemesis. So let's roll that and see what we get to deal with. It's a 50, and that is a minion. What kind of minion? We have a selection of. So let's see what pops up. 72. It's a SWAT officer, but I did say that there's danger, right? So let's say the SWAT officer is in the middle of fighting zombies. I have no idea why my shoulder keeps doing that. It's so weird. It's weird because, like, I wonder if I would even notice it if I wasn't looking at myself on screen, just occasionally going... Weird. Anyways. So we have a SWAT officer in front of us. I will throw that up on screen so you can see what that looks like as I bring it up on my own screen. Perhaps he's in a firefight with some zombies, right? And he opens up on them, just full-on spraying, doing his best to mow them down. Is he succeeding? We're not going to make this a straight combat roll. I just want to know if this guy has a chance at winning. 6. That's our first 6. Yes, he's succeeding, and he kills them. Just straight up, and drops them dead. A lone SWAT officer. Or is he? We want to ask that first. Is this guy alone? Yes. He looks tired. Beat, worn. He no longer has his helmet on. Well, we're just kind of assuming it's a he. Let's be fair here and do the same thing we do for every character, essentially. D6, again. Even male, odd female. Even male, so it is a he. And he's leaning back. And Mckayla turns the corner. Hey! And he whips around. Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Shit, lady, what the hell are you doing out here? I'm just trying to get back to the house. No, you don't want to go home. Well, does he know that? He probably knows that, so we'll get another D6 out there. Does he know there are civilian checkpoints? 5. Yes, because it's more likely that he knows. No, you don't want to go home. We have civilian checkpoints back there. I was just heading back myself. My squad got wiped. Civilian checkpoints. Others? Military-based, he says. They'll keep you safe and get you out of here. It's an evac and everything. Come on, let's go. And she agrees. Because Mckayla is not the type to make decisions on her own if she doesn't have to, right? That's what her backstory said. So she's gonna listen to this authority figure. He just killed a couple of these things when she saw the criminal struggle with them. The guy struggled to kill that one person from last episode. So she follows. She gets up right behind the SWAT officer. So what we want to ask right now is, does the SWAT... I saw that arm chill. Does the SWAT officer even care that she's unarmed? Yes, he does, and that's our second 6. Quick water break. Yes, he cares, right? So he turns around, seeing that she's clearly unarmed. He says, "You got a weapon?" "No, I don't have a thing." "All right." Does he give her one? Well, there's a yes and. So, all right. And he pulls his sidearm out. 9mm light pistol, because it's Resident Evil. You always start with that 9mm, right? Beretta. Here, take this. 15 shots, make it count. 15 shots. Does he give her any extra ammo, actually? I don't need to get rid of that 6. So, it's a 3. No, he doesn't give any extra ammo. But... doesn't give her any extra ammo. And use this if you're out. And he hands her a knife. It's gonna be a self-defense knife. Well, I don't want to roll just and dictate what it is. It'll be a D6. Even is a self-defense knife. Odd, it's just a knife. It's just a knife. He hands her a combat knife. Here, and take this. You run out, you don't want to let them get close. Okay, thanks. And she takes it. Will you take the knife? Yes. And he leans her forward. Or he leads her forward. How many blocks away is this safety? We're gonna roll a d4. What's this one? 4 blocks away. I don't know where my boogie board is. Give me a second. Stick tight with me. We don't want any trouble. I'll keep you safe. And the two of them move forward. He leads her the same direction she was already going, west. And he's taking the lead. SMG in hand. You alone out here? He asks. Does she mention Mckayla? Or does Mckayla mention Sophia? I figure that's a point of contention, a point of sorrow for her, but maybe this is her chance to try to convince him to go back for her. So, this is going to be a discipline check, right? Discipline sounds like the one we should use. Let me take a look at her stats just to be sure, because it's probably discipline, cool, or vigilance. And I don't think this is about her keeping calm or about her being vigilant. So we will go with discipline. We'll go with discipline if she has that, just the ability in herself to say it. We're going to give this... We're actually going to downgrade that to a purple, because maybe now, with a SWAT officer leading her, she feels more confident to say it. Black for the fear of saying going back, and that'll be it. Let's roll that. Advantage success. She succeeds, but with a threat of 2, or a threat of 3. No, I'm out here with my wife, she says, hesitating for a second, and the guy in lead stops and turns back. Where is she? She's back at the Otherworld's Diner. Do you know where that is? Yeah, it's not far from here. They were supposed to have a blockade down that. Well, does he know about the blockade? Let's check that first. No, he doesn't know about the blockade. And he hasn't had communication with his troops, or not his troops, with his command, his chain of command in a while. Maybe he doesn't have his radio anymore. Yeah, I know where that's at. A couple blocks north, right? Yeah. Why are you separated from her? There was an attack. Was she bitten? Why does everybody keep asking that? These things aren't people anymore. Not in the sense you would think. When you get bitten, you become one of them. Mindless. Horrors. Zombies. They've used the term zombie in Resident Evil games. I'm gonna look for a clip after that so I can throw it on
Easy there. I'm not a zombie.
Raised. Zombies. She's bitten. If they got her, that's it. There's no saving her. I'm supposed to be looking this way when I'm the guy. No, I don't. She wasn't bitten. I don't think so. Sir, we have to go back for her. You don't have to call me sir. I'm gonna go to random lists for a name real quick. I'm not gonna put it on the screen because I'd have to screen cap random names. Random lists, that is. We're just gonna give homeboy a name real quick. So, that is a D12. That's the D12, yes. 5. Name Sheldon. You don't have to call me sir. Let me write that down before I goldfish it. Sheldon, please. She's all I have left. My guess here is that Sheldon is low on ammunition. Maybe that's the reason he didn't hand Mckayla any more rounds. Hell, maybe there's not a full amount of rounds inside her magazine. But I did say 15 shots, so we're gonna leave that there. That was already established. How many rounds does he have for his, how many magazines does he have for his weapon? 2. The one he has in here, and the one that's left. Seeing as I'm holding an MP7, we're gonna just go off and say that it has a standard 20 round magazine. Which I think this is the 20. That's not the 20. Which one is the 20 on this? That's the 20. And this number is gonna be how many rounds he's already spent. 1. Convenient. He just reloaded fine off 1 round. That's a 9. Yeah. 2 magazines. He knows that when you shoot these things, they don't go down immediately. He's exhausted. He's tired. He's been through hell tonight. He's been through hell through the last couple of days. Probably. Even though this is the first full sign of the major outbreak, he's had to have been involved in some way. This is not a reaction, so we're not going to say cool. I don't know if it's discipline or vigilance. I want to say cool because it's like a meme from the last video that it was all cool checks. And maybe the meme for this video is that it's all discipline checks. But maybe it is discipline here. Is this SWAT officer disciplined enough to continue doing his job when all feels hopeless? That's what we're going to find out. Now, since this is just an NPC, technically a minion, I believe? I'd have to look on the paper real quick. Yeah, SWAT officer is a minion. This guy's not the best up there. We're just going to go off his main stats. Discipline is will. As you can see on screen, his will power is a 3. This guy actually has a pretty decent chance at not bitching out. But he knows what's out there. Right? He knows what can happen. We're going to give a blue to represent the fact that Mckayla is essentially begging him. Maybe she's on the verge of tears, and he thinks it's worry, but it's Mckayla releasing that guilt or clinging onto it. He is her only hope at salvation, at saving today. She's not the hero, but he could be. So, that's what the blue will represent. The red, because of the dangers. The black, because of his low ammunition. And the secondary red, because he's alone with a civilian who probably can't shoot for shit. At least that's what he's thinking. She's not even armed. Blindly running out here. What's he think? Success of 2. Succeed by 2 with an advantage of 2. Alright, fuck it. He turns back and walks over to her. But you do what I say. Alright? Yeah, fine. No arguments here. I mean it. We stay off the road. Stick to alleys, buildings. We see some danger, we move. We see something I don't like, we go the opposite direction. And if we're too late, or if she's already bitten, we gotta do what's necessary. Your wife or not. And Mckayla doesn't want to think about that. Because there can't be too late in this situation. You gotta promise me you won't get in the way if that's what it comes to, he asks. Demands, says, however you want to say it. I promise, Mckayla says. Please, let's just go get her. Let's go. We'll take that alley right down that way. Stay behind me a couple of feet. There's some nasty shit out here. And he begins moving. And she's on his back. They get towards the alley. It's darker here, but it's off the main road. And Mckayla feels relieved that he's helping her. Safety. Peace. They move to the shadow of this alley. Is there anything else here? 5. Yes. Is it human? 6. That is our third 6. So it's a wild. Wilds will override anything here, so I can roll on the Resident Evil board and it can still be a monster even if I asked it's human, just so you know. So first we roll the d6, even being creature, odd being human. So let's see what comes up in front of us. Not on the paper. Here. Even. It's not a human. Maybe it's a humanoid. Same thing as before with minions, rivals, and nemesis. Rival or minions are slightly higher because of just their abundance in this area, though I doubt chimeras would be running around. Were they in any Resident Evil besides the first one? And I guess Umbrella Chronicles, because I think that's still canon, that ending scene anyways. But I can't remember seeing chimeras. I used to think Reapers from RE5 were chimeras. Those things, back when I was young, chimeras were the only thing that scared me about that game. Holy hell. The introduction to them was frightening. That little scene in the library that's when I played the DS one first. But let's get off this tangent. What's in front of us? D100. 98. Holy shit. It's a nemesis. As in Nemesis or Mr. X. We have a 50% chance either way. That's going to be cool. So if it's Nemesis, I don't think these two have much to worry about. If it's Mr. X, that's going to be dangerous. 87. It is Mr. X. Technically, it's still a humanoid figure up ahead. Right? So the two of them turn the corner. And they see a figure up ahead. But it looks like a person. A tall person. His back turned to them. Fedora. long trench coat, gloved hands. Maybe there's a car in the way. A vehicle. It's not overturned, but its hood is slightly bashed in. The driver's side, in fact, hangs open. It's on the other side of them. They face the passenger side, and Mr. X, this person, is standing by the driver's side. They don't see it, just looks like he got out, though he's too tall. Hey, buddy! Charlton asks. He takes a few steps. He lowers his gun because he doesn't think it's an enemy, just a freakishly tall man. Hey, buddy, you alright? And Mr. X looks over his shoulder. The gray, lined, circled face isn't immediately apparent. Hey, guy! Look, I'm going to be taking you out towards a... he would not remove the hand from the gun, though. I'm going to be taking you guys back out towards a civilian checkpoint. Come with us! And it turns around, and it places one hand on the car. And in a swift motion, it single-handedly pushes it to the right and back down the alleyway that it came from so it can clear the direction. Holy shit! Sheldon says. What the fuck? Mckayla takes a few steps back. So first we're gonna roll cool for both of them, because we have to roll cool now. Actually, no, this is an unexpected thing. Kind of like how when Leon saw it and he just turns and runs, and Claire turns and runs. This is probably going to be a vigilance thing, because they're not expecting this big motherfucker to just... So, first we're going to do Mckayla because she has stats. We're going to do a red for how fucking sudden and scary that is, and the purple... No, it'll be 2 reds. 1 for how fucking scary it is, and red for the simple fact that it looks just unhuman. The fact that this normal person turned around and grabbed and threw it, the shock of seeing it happen, and then the immediate, oh my god, he shouldn't be that strong. Right? And when he throws it, we're going to say there's a body beneath it, a man's head like that he's standing on. So we'll add a black for that fear. And so it'll be red, red, black when Homeboy has to roll against it. Failure. Advantage. So this is just a neutral failure for her. Advantage of 2 cancelled out by threat of 2, and then success is cancelled out by 1 failure, leaving that 1 failure there. Now we're going to roll for Homeboy. We look at vigilance as a will check, right? So that is yellow and green for her, but for him, he has 3 willpower. That's right. So I can just remove that and add 2 of these. Failure by 2. Negative failure by 2. Holy shit! So instead of running, which is probably the smarter thing to do, he's just gonna start opening fire. He's gonna hold his place because even though this is the newer Mr. X, when you shoot, you have to stand still, apparently. He's gonna hold his place and just start firing. The gun kicks in his hand as he starts unloading, letting bullets fly out. Mckayla, who succeeds in this, no, she failed, I believe, right? See, goldfish memory. Either way, we're going to just say that Mckayla failed, because I'm pretty sure she failed. She starts taking steps back, and she sees this guy unloading, and it's not doing a thing. Mr. X is just walking forward, letting the bullets bounce off of his trench coat. Hey, run! Hey, we can't do this! No, fuck that! It's not getting closer! And he screams out, and he's firing, and the monster does get closer. I gotta bring up his stats so I can see them. Give me half a second. So it steps forward, letting each bullet sink into his jacket, and its one massive hand pulls back. That is a brutal strength. For... It uses... brawn. Okay. Brawn of 5. 1. So his attack is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're probably fucking dead, Sheldon. Nice knowing you, buddy. They are now engaged, so this is just a 1 purple. And if Nemesis criticals by 5, it creates a critical which deals some nasty damage. It already deals a straight 7 damage to this dude. He has a soak of 4, but still that's 1 nasty hit. It also disorients him and knocks his ass down. So we're going to roll. I'm actually going to give Nemesis I'm going to give Nemesis, I keep calling it Nemesis, I'm going to give Mr. X 1 black to represent the fact that Mckayla is here and is probably going to try to help. So let's roll it. Success 4, advantage 4, threat. Oh no. No, he doesn't get a chance. So he's firing, just bang, 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 bang as he shoots, and Mr. X gets close. Its hand jumps up in front of its head, deflects a few shots, its right hand pulls back, and this dude goes down. The blow hits Sheldon right in the head, and he whips back and slams across the ground. Maybe he slides a few feet. Knocked down and disoriented, he glances up. The world is shaking. There are little stars above his head, and there's that fun high-pitched E you always hear in video games. Does Mckayla stay with him? This one's going to be a cool check, because we got to get back in on cool checks, man. I have a quota to fill, and if I don't do my cool checks, everyone's going to hate me. Homeboy just got knocked the fuck out, right? That's that. We're going to actually throw another red to represent the fact that he probably just put a full magazine in that thing. So 3 reds, green, and yellow against her. Let's go. I should throw a blue in there to represent her wanting to stay by Mckayla's side. It's not too late to add it in, though. But I feel like, we'll do it. Come on. Nothing. Success, advantage, failure of 3. No. Fuck no. She can't stay cool on this. The moment he goes down, she turns and runs. She turns and hits the main alley. Hits the main street. Is there something in the main street waiting for her? No, and it's clear. Does this thing stop with him or go after her? I feel like he has his target right, so he's gonna stick with it. Are there any examples of Mr. X not going for the target? I think in Operation Raccoon City, if you shoot it more, it'll go towards you instead of somebody else, but she's not shooting it, and I don't remember any other examples. There's a scene in the original Resident Evil 2 where he beats the shit out of Ada, but doesn't she take care of him too? God, I don't remember. It's been forever. We're going to say that it sticks with him, right? And she's gone. She's running off down the street. She hears him cry out, but I'm not going to say he's dead. You there, dear viewer, same thing like last episode. You get to tell me, if it makes sense and it's plausible, he's not going to sprout wings and fly or suddenly develop Mortal Kombat powers. But does Sheldon survive this encounter? Or does he get killed? Throw it down in the comments. The first person to say it, that's what happens. And Mckayla runs back out into the street. She's not going towards Sophia. She's going home. She's going home. And just like the last time she thought, the last time she had hoped to save her wife, her girlfriend, her estranged girlfriend, it didn't work out. It's unfortunate too, but Mckayla's not the only one out here that's not a hero. Alright, second video done. I challenged myself to finish it 2 weeks after the first episode came out, and well, there's a lot I tried to improve, though I swear it came out worse. See, typically I use OBS for the green screen effect. I put on that background video and just play. This time I wanted to do something a bit more dynamic, change the background to somewhat match the scene. I did it with Sony Vegas, and man, did that not work out. I am not happy with the pixelized outline that Vegas left. I spent a decent amount of time trying to fix it, but I ran out of time. Believe me, it looked way worse before. I'm gonna give it one more shot and spend a little more time tinkering with it for the next episode, but if I'm still not satisfied with it, I'll switch back to OBS for the 4th one, at least until I figure Vegas out. Aside from that, it was fun getting some character interactions in this episode. Mckayla spent most of her first appearance alone, so it was nice having someone for her to bounce off of. Wish she had stuck around a little longer, but you know how RPGs go. Things change so fast. That's part of why I love them. But let's hope the next guy sticks around a little longer. Well, we'll see what happens in the next episode. Hope to see you there. Until then, I'll be in other worlds.